If you're taking the LSAT in 2026 or beyond, you actually have less material to study than almost any previous LSAT generation. There's no more logic games on the test, fewer practice tests available. And so if I wanted to score a 175 or above on the LSAT in 2026 or beyond going forward, here's exactly what I would do. I want to anchor you with one thing first, though. Scoring a 175 or above is not about perfection. It is about consistency. A 175 is the top 1% and only allows for a couple of wrong answers. So the real challenge is not about knowing everything, it's about controlling your process, especially when the LSAT throws something annoying at you. Could be a tough reading count passage, a weird logical reasoning argument. You could have tech issues, a bad proctor, a loud neighbor. And so students who score a 175 or above, they're not smarter than anybody else. They're just calmer and more systematic. And they know how to recover quickly. And so everything I'm about to share is built on that foundation. Now, the LASER approach is an acronym standing for Learning, Accuracy, Sections, Exams, and Review. And that framework works whether you're studying for 3 months, 6 months, or longer. It lets you reduce overwhelm and work in the right order without skipping steps. The first month is learning and accuracy, building the foundation. This is where you learn the core LSAT concepts slowly, carefully, and with a high quality, crystal clear understanding of logical reasoning structure, common argument patterns, conditional logic, necessary versus sufficient assumptions, causal reasoning. And so if anything I just mentioned feels shaky, that's where you start. Then secondly, you drill questions by type. You want to focus on the big 3 to start with that show up most often: necessary assumption, inference, and flaw. When you're drilling, you're doing 20 to 30 questions of one type in a row. You're not going to mix them up yet. That teaches your brain the proper lens for each question type. We're focusing now on mastery rather than speed. And when you can explain why each wrong answer is wrong, you are then and only then ready for the next stage. The second month would be timed sections to develop your pacing. And this is where students discover the truth about the LSAT. The LSAT is not hard because of the content, it's hard because of the clock. The 35-minute time constraint is brutal, but it becomes manageable when you understand the order of difficulty. In logical reasoning, the first 10 are generally easier, 11 through 20 are medium, and the last handful tend to be the hardest. And so you should not spend equal time on each question. You want a time bank. So for logical reasoning, you knock out the first 10 questions in roughly 10 minutes or so. You build up a time bank so that you can then invest more time in the harder questions later in the section. Now, most students do the opposite. They overspend early, getting bogged down, and then they panic later. So I would flag questions, maybe flag 3 to 5 questions to protect your score so you don't get bogged down, you don't get stuck, and you can come back later with a fresh perspective. Now, a top scorer knows when to cut losses and protect their time. Then in month 3, we transition into full exams and endurance. You've already built the foundation, you already have the knowledge, you've already worked on the timing, and so now you're going to build stamina and emotional control, taking several full-length exams, ideally at least 10 of them. And for most people, that's doing 1 or 2 full exams per week, same day, same time as your official real test, with the same breaks, with 0 distractions. Because you want to know what it feels like to hit the 4th section tired, frustrated, drained, but still be able to perform at a high level. You also want to simulate real test day conditions, same computer, same room, same clothing, same water bottle and snack. And it feels silly, but you want to rehearse every single thing down to the most minute detail. Now, the secret weapon that's too often ignored is deep review using the Socratic review method. Most students think reviewing means checking the answer key, but that's not reviewing, that's grading. If you want a top score, you've got to understand why you got something wrong, why it was tempting, why the right answer felt unappealing, and how to prevent that from ever happening again. That is the essence of the Socratic review method, which I use with all of my students. Now, every wrong answer is built on one of two traps. You either have traps of encouragement that pull you toward wrong answers, or traps of discouragement that push you away from the right answers. If you don't know your personal tendencies, whether you overtrust strong language or you misread group versus individual, or get distracted by irrelevant details, you will repeat the same mistakes forever. A top scorer, though, knows exactly which traps catch them. Now, if you've got 6 months or longer, the plan's the same, but extended over a longer period of time, but the same principles apply. When you have more time, I think it's awesome because you give yourself more breathing room, which typically leads to higher scores because you can avoid burnout. Now, if you take nothing else, remember this. The LSAT rewards systems, not intensity. You gotta stick to the right process in the right order with the right mindset. You build the fundamentals, the accuracy, the pacing, and the endurance, and you review with both honesty and curiosity to drill down to the root cause of your mistakes so you can avoid making the same mistake again. And that is how you hit a 175 in 2026 and beyond.